Hi, this is Yeho. I'm macro option trader. Today it's December 13, 2025, and it's 12:21 p.m. Japan time. And 2025 is almost over. This podcast has been running for about 10 months now. By February next year, it will officially be free. So today, I'd like to talk about the direction of the market in 2026. Next year is 2026, and that means it will be 2 years since Donald Trump won the US presidential election. In October and November of 2024, and it's to 2026, the US midterm election coming. That's one major political event we need to keep in mind. Another thing, on a more personal note, I loved the Grand Theft Auto series. The next title is scheduled to be released around November 2026. And on top of that, we also have the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It will be held mainly in North America, with the US and Canada and Mexico involved. And so when you look at it this way, 2026 is actually a year full of big events. Also, 2026 is the year of the house. If you look at the 12-year cycle, the previous ones were 21 for 2014 and 20 those two 1919. The 1919, of course, was a period when the Japanese bubble collapsed. And before that, it was 1978. I'm not saying this determines everything, but I do think these long cycles were worth keeping in mind when we look at the markets. Now, looking at the current market, commodity, especially gold, has been very strong. Gold pulled back a bit yesterday, but this year we also saw strong moves in the silver and pressure. Inflation is still very powerful, and then when I talk to people around me, many of them are thinking about inflation hedge. Some are considering buying a real estate, and some are thinking it's time to buy stocks. Others believe we are already in bubble. There are many different options and out there. Personally, I think AI is extremely useful and absolutely important, but I also feel that too much money and attention is crowding into AI right now, and that can be dangerous. If I had to pick one core theme, I'd say inflation will matters, still matters more. To build AI, you need a data synthesis, you need semiconductors, and all of that requires energy. Any major technological breakthrough always needs to physical resources. So the key question becomes how much energy can we generate? How much can we store? This is where things get really important. Because of that, energy security, food security, and defense security are becoming more important in an increasingly fragmented world. I think this is the beginning of a decentralized economy. Before the main issue was over reliance on China in reliance China and global supply chain. Now the mindset is changing fast and building strong domestic supply system and hedge what you still lack. And I think this system will become even clearer in 2026. If you look at Japan's policy direction, a lot of money will go into crisis management and security. That means an infrastructure. We have aging infrastructure, and the big question is how to upgrade it using technology. This is extremely important. In broad sense, real estate becomes very important here, not just real estate itself, but all the service built around it. The key question is what kind of technology should we embed into real estate to optimize society? Once the infrastructure is in place, new service can emerge on top of it. And I believe government-led investment will play a central role in this process. So yes, electric utilities and real estate companies and logistic and warehouse operators. The real question is how do you press and drive into these assets? That's what really matters. And it comes after that. AI is amazing to support human thinking, but I often describe AI as a shovel for digging shallows of seas without power plants, data centers, storage facilities, energy, and food system. AI and simply cannot function. That's a perspective I use when I look at individual stocks. There's another important topic. In Japan plans to start test mining that aims to build mass production system in the 2030s. If Japan truly become a resource owning nation, then the long-term concerns about physical deficits may not matter as much as people think. With resource as a collateral, Japan could even move towards stronger yen in the long run. So personally, I'm not pessimistic as the media tends to be. In 2026, Trump actions will likely become much more visible and aggressive. Resource development and infrastructure building, these are not optional anymore. From 2000 to around 2020, infrastructure was seen as a mature industry. But now it's clearly coming back. Even people in major power companies and say the same thing. What used to be boring has suddenly become hot. That's how cycle works. Because of that, large cap and infrastructure stock may take center stage, but the question is what happens to growth stocks? With high interest rates and business model built on cheaper financing become fragile. On the other hand, companies that spend decades building the competitive advantage at high margins using their own capital will likely survive and be rewarded. The market will become more selective. Weak companies will disappear through TOBs and consolidation. In the sense, the growth market is being tasted. At the same time, corporate venture capital or CVC is becoming more active. Instead of rushing into IPOs, to start up with long-term capital from operating companies. This means a few quick IPO, more 10-year journeys, and IPOs much larger scale, unlike 1 trillion yen market cap. I actually think this makes venture business more interesting. All of these also affect the option market. As the liquidity concentrates in large cap and mega venture, buildings buying spot stock alone offers less leverage. And that's where options become attractive. Just like in the US, I think individual stock option will gradually spread in Japan as well. And this is our Arima Kinen that shows something similar because of the storytelling and the development. Participation is instead far more than expected. Market often need a trigger. Option could be one of those triggers. Right now, so we are clear in the range bound market. So the key question: how will this range break? as we end 2026 with all these events coming up. I'm focused closely to how the Nikkei and the US market break out of the release range. That's all for of this year. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to next year as well. See you again tomorrow.